On this episode of the Turnbuckle, Dominic Mysterio is open to wrestling his father at Wrestlemania. Brian Danielson is inspired by Cormac McCarthy while planning the AEW Revolution main event. And Powerhouse Hobbs wins the Face of the Revolution ladder match on Dynamite. Folks, we're hitting your favorite wrestling move into some wrestling news because it's time for the Turnbuckle. Hello. Inside the Ropes recently spoke with the younger Mysterio, and he mentioned his plans for WrestleMania. I think at this year's WrestleMania, you can definitely see Dom Mysterio in Mommy's corner, Mysterio stated. He also spoke about the possibility of facing his father. If it's my dad, which I don't think he's going to do it, but we'll see what happens. Dominic recently provoked Rey, challenging him to a fight that his father walked away from again. Mysterio explained why he doesn't think his dad will fight him. I did interviews in the past, and I always said that I never want to wrestle my dad just because of what he's done for me, and this and that. And yeah, I get that, but I don't think he wants to get in there with me, to be honest. Following in his mommy's footsteps, Mysterio is ready to cement his place in the business that his father excelled in for so long. I think it's gotten to the point where I've shown that I'm willing to do what it takes to take him out, and to prove that, once again, I'm the only Mysterio that matters in this business at the end of the day. WrestleMania is 3 weeks away. It does not sound like Rey is even remotely interested in getting into the ring with his son, but so far it seems like that's the direction that they're booking the storyline in right now. And I was just about to say WrestleMania is 3 weeks away again, but like it's so close that if they are gonna do something, the time to do it would either be next week or it would either be like the week after, or if you're really gonna push it, do it at WrestleMania. But other than that, the way that Rey is talking sounds like it does not seem like the match is going to happen anytime soon. I remember that when Vince was still in charge, Rey was also like, yeah, I don't want my son to turn heel, and I don't want to face my son at any time soon, or at any point. So, seeing as though he hasn't really changed his mind on that, I want to say I'm not really surprised, to be honest, but judging by the way the storyline is going, it's like I don't know what to believe. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going to happen here. So I mean, if there's any I guess like indication of some type of match or some type of developing storyline, I guess it would have to be at Mania, because I mean the last like developing relationship storyline that they kind of went through was at Clash at the Castle, and that's when Dom turned heel. And since then it's pretty much been it's just been them going back and forth, and Dom pretty much Rey trying to get Dom out of the Judgment Day, and then Dom being like, no, get away from me, also you're lame and I'm the coolest. So yeah, I don't know if they're going to be doing anything on WrestleMania, so we're just gonna have to wait and see what I guess Triple H has in store for them. But so far, I don't necessarily know, just from the way that Rey's talking. Next, we're going to talk about Brian Danielson inspired by Cormac McCarthy while planning the AEW Revolution main event. On Thursday, Sports Illustrated published an interview with Brian Danielson. Danielson faces MJF for the AEW World Championship this Sunday night in a 60-minute Iron Man match at the Revolution pay-per-view event in San Francisco, California. And if there's anyone up to the task of such a match, it's Danielson. Not only was he half of the longest AEW match to date, a 60-minute time limit draw against then AEW champion Hangman Adam Page, but he's had a knack for longer matches throughout his career, particularly in Ring of Honor. People know it's going to be an hour, Danielson said. We need to push the pace and push the physicality for a whole hour. He added that he doesn't think that the most famous Iron Man match, Bret Hart vs. Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 12, serves as a good blueprint though, because, quote, it was a slower match up front, and I just don't think you could do that today at the end of an AEW pay-per-view. The former Daniel Bryan sees it as possibly the biggest challenge I've put in front of myself in my entire career, finding himself unable to think of a higher pressure situation he's been in. The biggest concern is holding the live crowd's attention, Danielson added before noting he found inspiration in an unlikely source. It is very important to have statement moments scattered regularly throughout the match. Having just read 2 books by Cormac McCarthy, he's a great study in minimalism when it comes to fiction. He has these incredible sentences that hit you right in the heart. We need those sprinkled throughout the match, and plot twists. Overall, it needs to be a compelling narrative where the live crowd feels it. I know 100% the matches before us are going to be outstanding. We're going an hour, and we can't have a stinker. This is the last match of the night. I personally didn't think that Daniel Bryan specifically was going to be putting, his creative juices, I guess, into the match. I didn't I didn't know that he was actually going to be a part of it. That's actually really interesting. And it tells you a lot about how this particular match is going to go and what's actually going to happen in it, because he's talking about twists and he's over here gathering inspiration from, very specific sources and everything like that. And, he's using that as, the catalyst for how he wants a bunch of stuff in the match to like develop and everything. So did I already say he's talking about, did I mention the twists? Okay, there's going to be twists in there. MJF the person and MJF the character. It's going to be really interesting to sort of see. I mean, I'm not, okay, considering how the match that he and CM Punk had, the dog collar match, considering that, and also he knows how to go the distance and everything like that. I feel like he's actually really good at that. He's really good at putting on very memorable and compelling matches and stuff like that. So if you're going to be in a match with anybody in a 60-minute Iron Man match, it's definitely going to be Bryan Danielson. So I'm really looking forward to this match. Judging by how Daniel's talking, it definitely sounds like it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So listen, all right, keep an eye out for that. And I can't wait to see how it turns out. Finally, we're going to be talking about Powerhouse Hobbs. Now he wins the Face of the Revolution ladder match on Dynamite. Powerhouse Hobbs is next in line to get a TNT title shot. Hobbs won the Face of the Revolution ladder match on Wednesday's Dynamite, earning himself a TNT championship match on next week's show. The finish had Hobbs knocking Konosuke Takeshita off the ladder, then climbing in himself to grab the brass ring on the top, winning the match. He'll either face Samoa Joe or Wardlow depending on the outcome of their match at Revolution on Sunday. The match featured a ton of crazy spots, mainly by the likes of Action Andretti, Commander, and Sammy Guevara. Konosuke Takeshita and AR Fox and Eddie Kingston and Ortiz were also in the match, though Kingston and Ortiz ended up brawling in the back early on. I'm really happy for Powerhouse Hobbs, and I kind of feel bad because instead of talking about Hobbs winning the brass ring, I talked about Eddie Kingston quitting the match. But to be honest with you, that was actually a little bit more compelling. I'm not going to lie. That was actually, I for a moment I thought it was real, so that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it, but it ended up being a kayfabe thing because he went to Ring of Honor. So we can now talk about Hobbs. We can now talk about how, as happy as I want to be about this, I don't necessarily know what this means for literally all three of them, Joe, Wardlow, and Hobbs, because, okay, Hobbs now has the brass ring. He's going after the TNT championship. That's confirmed. So if Joe wins, that pretty much puts a bit of a wet fart on the Wardlow storyline, because at first it was, oh, what did he cut his hair off for? And now we know, and now it's made the storyline more compelling. But now that we know that, now that this storyline now has weight to it, and now that this match actually is personal, if Wardlow does lose, it kind of takes the shine off of Wardlow, and it kind of hurts him in the process. It makes Joe look stronger, yes, but with that being said, then if he takes out Hobbs, then Hobbs looks weak. But if Hobbs wins, then I don't know, because what do you do? Because the outcome here has to be that Hobbs wins. That just has to be the outcome, because if you're not going to do it now, then I feel like you would just from that point on, it would just be taking a little bit too long, at least in my opinion. I feel like, man, now's got to be the time to pull the trigger on Hobbs, and I don't know what that means, because it pretty much means that one of them is going to have to end up losing the title. If Wardlow wins, Wardlow has to lose it. If Joe retains, then Joe has to lose it. You just can't pass up an opportunity on a guy like Hobbs, man. You just can't. So I genuinely don't know. The only thing I can think of is if Hobbs interrupts the match halfway through and throws the whole match out and the whole match gets thrown out, and then he beats Joe, and then Wardlow goes after him. That's the only thing I can think of. Other than that, I genuinely have no other idea of how you could, structure this in a way where all three of them come out, not so much on top, but come out not so much losing, a decent chunk of their stock. So listen, I'm not Tony Khan. I assume he's got something planned. If he doesn't, listen, I don't know what they're going to do. So only time will tell how everything is going to turn out. What do we talk about? Ray wants to fight Dom. No, Dom wants to fight Ray, but Ray is not up for it. And it sounds like it's going to happen at WrestleMania. Dom wants to fight Ray at WrestleMania. He's like, listen, I'm open to doing that. Last week, Dom was provoking Ray, and Ray didn't do anything. So either something is going to happen this week or next week or at WrestleMania. I genuinely have no idea. It doesn't sound like anything is potentially going to happen. It's right now, it seems like it's up in the air, really. That's the best way I can describe it, is really up in the air, because it really depends on what direction Ray wants to go in. Even if Ray says no, that's fine, because Dom still has Judgment Day, so there's not really a huge issue with that. So at the end of the day, man, we're just gonna see. We just have to wait and see like what Rey actually says about this. The 60-minute Iron Man match sounds like it's going to be incredibly interesting. I cannot wait to see it. Danielson definitely sounds like he's putting a lot of thought and effort into this match, and I 100% feel like MJF is up for it. So I'm looking forward to see what that match is going to have in store. And man, I'm very excited to see who's going to come out with a win. I want Hobbs to be the next TNT champion. There, I said it. I want Hobbs to win. That is not good, though, because it pretty much means that, it means that Joe's going to have to lose, or Wardlow's going to have to lose. And, man, if Hobbs was not a part of this whole situation, I would want Wardlow to win. Like, if Hobbs is not part of this equation, Wardlow definitely deserves to win, and Wardlow definitely deserves to, like, carry that title, for at least a couple more months. But, man, because Hobbs has the opportunity to be the next TNT champion, I really feel like they need to give it to Hobbs. And, man, if you have to take it off of somebody, at least take it off of Joe so that Wardlow can, I guess, keep going after it. You know what I mean? That's the best way I can think of it, but that's just my opinion. Okay, I don't know what they're gonna go with, but listen, man, it's better than nothing. Folks, that's gonna do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. As always, big hugs all around.